We are here to talk to you today about ancestors, creativity, and connection. Each breath is the opportunity to love again. And if you are here with us, we'd love a thumbs up or a heart or something so that we know that we've got, or a comment, maybe even better, we've got people in the group. But we are just going to go. All right, so through a series of those often magical synchronistic events, Lauren, Megan, and I have come together for a conversation interview style to talk about acknowledging grief after the death of a loved one, honoring that connection and the legacy it leaves us, bridging the gap between beloveds who have died and the living, and how creativity can breathe life back into that connection. At the end of our presentation, we'll be offering you a complimentary gift from each of us and share how you can join us to go deeper and more expansive into your connection and creativity with your ancestors. Let me see, I'm going to talk out loud and highlight. Lauren, there you are. This is Lauren. Lauren Adorno-Weatherford is a certified intentional creativity artist and teacher and elder leader for Sacred Echoes of the Well, a Black Indigenous women of color community within Musea Center for Intentional Creativity. She co-leads monthly circles for Black and Brown women, and her passion is to uplift their voices, share story grounded in identity and culture, and create art that expresses their unique beauty. As a sacred artist and shaman curandera, Lauren is currently navigating the world of grief after the recent death of her beloved father. Her deepest desire is to share the wisdom she has gained from making death and grief her ally. Lauren lives in Northern California on the indigenous land of the Patwin tribe and can be reached at lauren.weatherford@yahoo.com. Lauren, I'm so glad you're here with me.
Thank you.
And Meghan Lincoln has been practicing mediumship for many years and feels called to help bridge the gap between us and our loved ones who have crossed over. She knew at a very young age that she could hear her grandmother talk to her and sense her presence around her. This experience piqued her curiosity that sparked her journey into learning more. She's gained experience through enrichment at Lily Dale, a spiritualist community in New York. Megan's journey of mediumship unfoldment is continuous, and her intention is to be a conduit to connect with spirit and to convey messages with accuracy and compassion while maintaining an uplifting flow. Megan lives in Pennsylvania and lives on the indigenous land of the Lenape tribe. She will be sharing details on booking a reading with her at our February 5th event. So glad you're here, Megan.
And I'd like to introduce Kerry Lee, the alchemical artist. She is an intuitive artist, art medium, healer, coach, certified intentional creativity teacher, and art educator for Golden Artist Colors and Silver Brush Limited. The intentional creativity process released her 35-year case of creative constipation, along with healing life's traumas. As an artist who aims to make a difference in the world, Kerry Lee's artworks have message, meaning, and purpose. Her coaching focuses on self-discovery and healing grief. Her paintings are often about life's thresholds, including celebrations of love, celebrations of birth, and tribute paintings that provide a colorful and unique way to honor loved ones after death. Kerry Lee hosts weekly online group open studio sessions for creative accountability, connection, and inspiration through her Patreon community. She lives on the indigenous and ancestral land of the Bay Miwok tribe in the San Francisco Bay Area. She can be reached at kerryleeart.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.
Okay, Lauren is going to start us off with a presencing to get us grounded into where we are going and with each other. And it's called Honoring Ourselves, a Breathwork Meditation.
So let us become present. We may sit back in our chairs and lower our shoulders and close our eyes. Allow yourself to be right where you are. Find and follow your breath. Each breath is an opportunity to relax, like ocean waves returning to the shore, the ebb and the flow. Breathe in from your belly to the top of your head. And breathe out all the way down to the bottoms of your feet. Without judgment, critique, send love to your body through your breath. Set aside all that has happened today and be who you are. Each breath is an opportunity to love again and again. In breath, I am. Out breath, love. You may open your eyes when you're ready.
I am love. Thank you, Lauren. Okay, so we are going to start with some questions for Lauren. And Lauren, the word ancestors really is resonating for you a lot right now. So what is your definition of ancestors, and what does it mean to you in this moment in time?
Yes, thank you for asking. Ancestors are being presenced in my life because of the recent death of my father. So I believe he is now my ancestor. Crossed over, he's no longer on this plane, but he's in another realm, and he's still with me. So he is my ancestor. My grandmothers are my ancestors, and anyone that is part of my bloodline that has come before me, they are my ancestors. My ancestors also are myself. I am an ancestor. I will become an ancestor to my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and the children after them. So there's a line that comes from me being present as an ancestor to those who have crossed, gone to the other side, another realm, ancestor, and those that are to come into the future. We're all connected. It's a connected circle of ancestry. So that is how I presence that word for me, and how I'm living through it. Because I'm a grandmother and I do have a grandchild. So I'm able to really feel the distinctness of those three.
I love how you're so present to being an ancestor right now and your legacy. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lauren, how do you feel about the word death versus, because our culture tends to be afraid of the word death, versus past or crossed over or moved into the future?
Yeah. I think because of the society that we live in and how we're brought up, that the word death itself is considered taboo. People are afraid of that word, and they will use passed over. I've used it on moved to the other side, that kind of thing. They don't say my father died. They're afraid to say it because in our society, we don't presence death as a way of living normally. It's just not a part of how we were raised in this culture. So death is a very, very important word, I think, to begin to use and say out loud and not be afraid of it. It's important that word becomes used, and then it becomes normalized. But right now, it's not. That's my idea of the word death and how I feel about it right now. And I'm not afraid to say my father died.
Yeah.
It's a fact. He's no longer here in the flesh. He died. I do know his spirit, his soul, his energy exists in my world, and I feel it. So does that answer the question?
Absolutely answers the question. Yeah, I feel like it's a claiming, it's an acknowledgement, it's because it is a hard word in that sense. So I love that you're working on that change with our culture. Yeah. And your language, which it certainly has affected me and my language as well.
Yeah. And I like to preface it too as I'm making death and grief my ally.
Yeah.
So I'm aligned with it in a nice encompassing way that's not fearful.
Right.
It's welcoming.
Right. Okay. Let's see. And so right now you are literally weeks into or past your father's death, not far,
Yeah.
months, weeks, not very far at all. So what are you learning about grief?
Whew.
Yeah.
Wow. Whew. I well up with emotion, and as soon as you said it, I'm present to it. I'm present to the fact that he's not here with me. What I'm learning is that he's ever so close in a way that I had hoped for. That I worked with him on, and with before he left, we had discussions about that kind of thing. When you're gone, and I know I see him in birds, and I see him in egrets, and I see him in squirrels, and I see him in nature and trees and a lot of things that just come up. Grief is a wave. You ride a wave, and you never know when that wave is going to come. It's unexpected often. In some ways, I think that it's such a sacred time that it's liminal. There's a veil that is very, very, very present, but I'm close to being in that liminal time and in my feet planted on the ground as a human on this planet. But yet I feel also so close to the spirit world because I'm open to wanting that connection, and I'm asking for that connection so I can feel it. So grief, yeah, it's a wave. It's
Yeah.
a ride,
Yeah.
and I'm in it, and I think it's beautiful. I don't want to not be in it when I'm in it. I don't want to pretend I'm okay.
Yeah.
I want to be in it. Thank you for asking.
Acknowledging that love.
Yes.
Really what it feels like to me. You're acknowledging that love.
Yes.
You also mentioned that you are also learning to be in the company of other grievers. So when you're not just by yourself and you're with someone else who's grieving, that's an experience you're going through right now.
Yeah. It is important in many ways whenever we're dealing with things in life that we want to connect with people that are going through it as well. I mean, you could be an alcoholic and maybe other people, or you could be a drug addict and kind of go and hang out because they get you in that way. And there's no effort to understand what you're going through because they're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the experience of being in circle with other people that are grieving recently. And it was wonderful because I didn't have to try to put on or be, or I could just show up in this way
Right.
authentically and be understood, even
Right.
with words.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for sharing so vulnerably and truthfully. Love that about you, Lauren.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Megan, you are a medium. And for those who don't know, what is mediumship?
Well, mediumship is bridging the gap between us and our loved ones who have crossed over in the spirit realm.
Yeah. And how does it work?
Well, through guided meditation, through relaxation, I am able to get into a higher level, a higher state. And that's when we raise our vibrations, we are actually meeting the vibrational level that our spirit loved ones are at. So it makes it easier for them to come through to connect with us.
How do you get in that higher state? How do you raise your vibration so that you connect like that?
Through meditation, relaxation, just allowing your mind to open through unfoldment.
And what's it like to be a medium? What is the experience like for you?
It's actually a very, very wonderful place to be because I get to be the one who can bring joy and comfort to people who are missing their loved ones who have crossed over. I'm able to bridge that gap that helps them realize that they are still here. They're just in a different realm. They surround us. They are here with us all the time.
Is it like reality TV? Like, you know, you see those shows. Is that what it's like for you?
No, it is not that way for me. Each medium has their own unique way of bringing through spirit. Mine is not like a TV reality show at all, although sometimes some of the spirit loved ones that do come through, it's been a journey for them, and they have a lot to say. It just depends on who is coming through and what they want to convey to their loved ones in this earth realm.
And do you hear them? Do you see them? Do you feel them? Like what?
I'm able to visualize them in my mind's eye. I see them. I can sense their presence around me. I can also say if someone's grandmother comes through and she wants to emulate her signature cookie recipe, I can smell them baking. I can smell perfumes. Different kinds of clairs do come through.
Can I share something about that? That Meghan was able to see my dad, and he came to her in a red sweater, which was something that he liked to wear during that time. And she said he was cheering. He was just like cheering me on and really encouraging me. And he showed up, and she was able to capture everything that she relayed to me. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And I really appreciate the skill.
How did you feel in that moment, Lauren, when she told you about your dad in the red sweater?
I had chills, number one, and that tells me that yes, she was correct. And I knew she was seeing him and was with him, and I could feel him myself. So I was excited. I was just like kind of giddy. It was like, hi, yes, that's him. It was beautiful. It's
so very exciting when they come through like that. It's reassuring.
Yeah.
And how do we know it's real? Like, how do we know that you're just not making it up and that it's really real?
Red sweater for me.
Okay.
It's through providing evidence that knowledge that I would have no idea of, such as like what she's suggesting. I had no idea he loved sweaters. And that was one of the first things he provided for me, was showing me he was so proud of this sweater. And so that is the information I will give. I can, I will provide details of, for example, like jewelry that grandma wanted to pass on, little things like somebody's husband. He may provide something that's private between his wife, as far as giving evidence that there are things that I would have no knowledge of.
Yeah. And I remember once, I want to share a quick story too. I remember once you were working with a mutual friend of ours, and she and her husband had a special code of numbers that they would give to each other that meant I love you. And she asked you to tell her what that was, because this was a new experience and she wasn't quite sure she believed. And you told her no, that was for him to do. And sure enough,
exactly,
very quickly afterwards, those numbers showed up for her. I distinctly remember that moment. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So, Meghan, how can a medium be of service?
Well, we can provide you comfort, reassurance that our loved ones are still here, through the evidence provided. It's another way of just them wanting to come through and to reassure us that there is a continuation of life. It's on a higher realm. We are absolutely able to connect with them. And they want to let us know that they're doing fine, that everything is good.
So calming and reassuring and healing and hopeful and inspirational. So many good things from my experiences, and yours too, Lauren. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Meghan.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, we're on to Kerry Lee. Question for you. How has death, grief, and art come into your experiences over and over again?
Yeah, and this is something that I've realized fairly recently, is this pattern, because it hasn't been so intense in my life that that was my calling. And it actually started when I was 3 years old. And my first painting that we have a record of was of John F. Kennedy's casket with an American flag draped on it. And now in hindsight, I'm realizing that's how I process the world. That's what I saw the grief, and I put it into paint and image as a 3-year-old. Fast forward all these years later, and I'm going to do a little bit of a screen share and show some visuals here with it. But let's see. Lauren and Megan, can you confirm if you're seeing?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Okay.
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
I'm seeing us, the image of the three of us.
Okay, bear with me here. There we go. Now do you see it?
Yes.
The peace tree. Okay. So in 2019, I was in New Zealand painting a mural, and it was called The Grove of Intention. I was with Rosie Mack, another intentional creativity teacher, and she brought me in to paint this mural. In any case, the first ever mass shootings happened in Christchurch, New Zealand, where we were when we were just about complete with the painting. A huge memorial started in the city, and since we were almost done but not done, our mural, excuse me, I'm bouncing around here, but our mural turned into this this healing place. And during the grand opening, the caretakers, the grave diggers who lived on the North Island showed up unexpectedly, and we were making the tribute of the peace tree into a tribute for all the 51 lives that were lost at that time. And so he's putting each one of those white thumbprints represents a person who was lost who was murdered, and he's making a green dot on it, which in the Muslim culture that represents paradise, where they believe their beloveds go to. So we actually had the grave diggers come in and symbolically send off the beloveds. And then another thing that happened is this happened on a Friday, and the next Monday coming up, a man who used to walk past every day on his way to work completely changed with his demeanor. Turned out he had lost one of his best friends in the murders. And we were putting these dots around the tree, and the dots represented humans. And we asked him if he would like to make a dot to represent his friend. This is the dot that he made. And can you see that it's a smiley face? And we instantly all got that chills of recognition. And he said, my friend says it's going to be okay, and that I can come visit him at the mural and connect with him here. So we had no idea that this mural was going to turn into a place for healing. So that was one of the ways.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's magnificent.
Yeah. Then thanks to Megan's influence in my life, I took a spirit portrait class and wanted to learn step by step how to do this. It wasn't how it happened. They put us in and they basically just said, draw what you hear, see, feel. And I was completely disappointed because the intentional creativity method has step by step, and you interpret it with your own way. But I felt like I didn't have much to grab onto. So I was going to go ahead and draw just to appease the instructor. But literally in 2 minutes, I had this drawing. And I heard in my head, my imagination, it's just what came up, that he had dark short hair. He was 30s to 40s, light facial hair, medium skin tone, kind of a squared off chin, the short hair here, the shape of it, like it just happened. And I heard collared shirt, collared shirt, collared shirt many times. And then I also got that he was kind, he was sad in the moment, reflective, and he lost someone dear to him. Well, he turned out to be identified immediately in the classroom as the nephew of one of the participants. And I was pretty shocked that this happened. And in the last year, I was in touch with his widow, and she sent me more pictures. And now I can really see how, oh my goodness, yes, I did this portrait, which I had no idea was in my realm of possibilities. Wow. So what that did is that opened me up to, I have more abilities and gifts than I was aware of. And I had a friend's painting that I was working on that was stuck. I was stuck in my creative constipation, which is what I get when I'm doing a painting that I feel is significant or meaningful. My ego gets in the way because I want it to turn out. And so I was frozen on my friend's painting because she had lost a pregnancy at 8 months along. And she wanted a painting as tribute to her daughter. And that spirit portrait experience gave me the bravery to actually just go play with paint. And in this painting, I put in 5 intentional hearts to represent the family members. And then the rest of the painting, I pretty much just laid down paint on, like squirted paint on the canvas, and took a squeegee that you clean a shower with and wiped it around. And then I could see the outlines of the painting was a woman with the heart at her belly and angel wings. And it was like, oh my gosh, like the painting painted itself. And so now that painting lives in her office so that she can always be with her daughter. And so I'm gaining my confidence over time that this is the work I'm here to do. And most recently, I worked with a woman who lost her 22-year-old daughter. She was in college and she was a victim of domestic violence and murdered in her home. And I worked with the mom to create a tribute painting to her daughter, to just help her move a little bit in the deep, deep grief that she was in. And so I wasn't really planning on telling her that, that I had that spirit portrait experience, but I told her, and we ended up painting a representative painting of her daughter, and she put down all the messages that she too was receiving from her daughter. Her family thought she was crazy, but we knew she wasn't, and she had a place to put them. I saw the deep grief that she had, and I decided she needed to do another painting to pay tribute. I'm sorry, to express the grief that she had going on. So I gave her my painting and said, just write down all the crap that's happening. And she lit up because she said the courts need a impact statement, and I don't possibly have the way to create an impact statement. Long story short, these paintings flew out the window of her truck. We had to meet again and redo the paintings as an impact statement specifically. And this is what came out this time, was her daughter, and she started as fireworks. Her daughter was so excited about life, and every experience was like fireworks to her. So this was the muddled fireworks. And then she just started painting a second painting without me even saying anything. She pulled off the tape that was on it, and we felt like this was the fractured fireworks. And from there, she was able to actually have this impact statement that she took to the trial, and he was convicted. So that is some of the ways that that this theme of working with death. However, for me, it's really not about healing through the grieving process. It's more about honoring and paying tribute to those who have died. So that's where my part fits in.
Wow, fantastic.
Thank you. We've got 2 minutes, so I'm going to speed up here, but we're almost done. The 3 of us have a complimentary gift for everyone. I will put the link in the comments after this posts. And the gift is an intentional creativity project about gifts and legacy. All of the directions are written on the handout, so you can just have at it. You can let us know if you have questions. Just post on this if you have questions. Lauren has provided a healing and grief resource book list from her experiences. And Megan has provided us with 10 frequently asked questions about mediumship. And then we are super excited because on the afternoon of Sunday, February 5th, we're going to come together and we are hosting a class, an event, a workshop, and we're inviting you to explore your own connection and legacy through a loved one's death. We're going to go deeper and more expansive in our conversation. We're going to create a tribute painting, and no experience is needed for this, no painting experience or any kind of experience. And there'll be plenty of room for your own creativity as well. Megan is going to be ready to receive and deliver any messages that may come through during our time together. So we hope that you will join us. The link to that will be in the comments as well. We hope to see you there. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Such a delight.